Hey there, welcome to the Impatient Entrepreneur Podcast, a show where we hear from entrepreneurs and business owners who are chomping at the bit to make their mark on the world. I'm your host, Lauren Quidar-Cockrell. Now, let's hurry up and get to the good stuff. Hi, everyone. I'm so ready for today's chat. Jena is a new friend, but I've been a long-time admirer of hers. She's a really talented designer and brand strategist. And actually, earlier this year, when one of my biz besties let me know that she was going to be closing her doors, one of my first coherent thoughts was, I need to talk to Jena. I need you. And Jena immediately calmed me down and let me know that she had my back. And now we have a couple of projects cooking together. And she's an absolute joy to know and work with. And I'm so thankful for you. And I'm so excited you're on the show today. Welcome.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I hope that I can lead into that expectation for everybody here today. It's been so much fun working with you too. So
well, thank you.
When you called me, I'm like, I got you. We're going to do this together. We got it.
I felt the cortisol and the immediately lower. It's like, there is life for it.
Stressful.
Yeah, it is. But all good things. Everything is as it should be now. And yeah, so I think you're so fun and smart and cool. And so thanks for being here. So let's hear it. Tell us about your business.
Okay, so my business is Blush Cactus Design and Marketing Studio. It wasn't always Blush Cactus. It used to be designed by Jena, which is like so creative for a creative firm, right? But that was back in the day when it was just me. But we help businesses build badass brands, get out of limbo, and create memorable branding and marketing that actually works.
Love it.
We exist to help brands feel and be seen, and we create foundations based on strategy, and then we go ahead and implement their marketing around that strategy.
Very cool.
So that's what we do.
Love it. Well, we, like I said, we've got a couple projects in the works right now and you're doing it.
Yeah.
We can't wait to see them all come to fruition. So first things first, Jena, are you an impatient entrepreneur?
So as I was listening to some of the other guests on your podcast, I was like, some of them said they were not impatient. And I was like, well, I feel like I straddle the line between both.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a big part of me as a person in general that is very impatient.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do not like waiting for things. I don't like if I get you a gift, I want to give it to you today. Like I don't want to wait until the actual day of whatever the occasion is. I want to like give you your gift. But I also don't like feeling like I'm in a holding pattern or whatever. I want to go. But there's also this part of me as like an Enneagram 6
Mm-hmm.
who is very cautious. Like I am very careful and methodical. So I straddle the line and the tension between I hurry up and slow down. Like I'm like pumping the gas and then pumping the brakes. And I'm pumping the gas and then pumping the brakes. So, and then I also find myself kind of in that weird, well, it's not weird. I think a lot of people relate to this where you feel like when you get here, then I'll be whatever. Yeah. Right. And so I have to really like rein that in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't be thinking that this future state is going to bring you this feeling when you should be figuring out a way to kind of have that feeling right now. But I think that kind of plays into the impatient part of me.
Right.
So,
is there anything in particular that you're impatient about right now?
Oh, yes. So I'm in my my build it bigger than myself era.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm finding that the getting to the end of that, like scaling my business beyond just me, I wish it was going faster than it is.
Yeah.
Because building processes and taking everything that's inside of my brain and putting it onto paper so that my team can like take over and I can get out of the weeds is like, it's like the bane of my existence. I would much rather be sitting down ideating, and instead I'm just like, oh, this is the worst. And I want to fast forward. Is there a fast forward button?
Oh, I wish. Cause I know what that feels like, intimately.
I never really thought that I would be I hate the word boss or like leading people, but here I am. So,
right. And it is tough to go from, I think particularly in like a service-based interest in business, where you're the talent. You are the designer strategist. For me, I was the strategist and content creator, and slowly letting go of some of those pieces. I mean, I'm gleefully letting go of them, but if I haven't built the systems for everybody to catch them, then there's this messy middle process, and some go smoother than others. And it's just, it's sort of, 5 steps forward, 2 back. And it is sort of a maddening process for sure, but the end result will be worth it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's a great lesson in learning to let go, especially if you have, I'm not saying I'm a control freak, but when your name used to be when it used to be designed by Jena, back in the day when it was just me and I was just doing graphic design for companies on retainer as like an overflow. And then it's like, oh, okay, we're building a business here that can actually scale beyond just me, Jena. Right. And so learning to let things go and kind of allow other creative minds to come in and take the reins and trusting that process to happen it's definitely a challenge, but it's also very freeing.
Absolutely. And to really recognize how talented your team can be, either on their own or together as a group, and just see what they're putting forth. Be like, dang, yeah, I never would have done it that way, but that's awesome.
Oh, I love it. That's one of my favorite things. Yeah. Honestly, I'm like, okay, see, me thinking that I have to have my little fingers and everything. A lot of times I just mess it. I find now that when I'm doing that, I'm just making it more mucky. Like I just get out of the way and let them do their thing. They can shine.
Yes.
And that's really what my role now is to kind of lead and help them shine and help them learn the skills and things that maybe they want to hone in on a little bit more in terms of like working with clients directly or accepting feedback, things like that. We have like a really seasoned team though. So that's kind of, makes my job so much easier.
Totally. That's awesome. How many are on your team now?
We have a team of 5.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's big.
It's awesome. And it's nerve-wracking. There's the whole payroll thing. I think it was Jen, the attorney that you had on previously.
Yes.
She's like, yeah, it's really nice to not have to worry about payroll. And I'm thinking, yeah, I bet it is.
Must be nice.
It must be awesome. But yeah, so it's been awesome. It's been a blessing. And I always say, like, if you want to really learn about yourself and grow into the person that you're meant to become, you should own a business.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true.
Because I have had to confront so many things about myself that I really wouldn't have grown as a person. Like it's grown me professionally, but I've grown as a person because I have this business. I'm a completely different person than I was 10 years ago when I started this business. And it's by necessity. So
yeah, I was with some friends over the weekend, some longtime friends, like since first grade, like 35 years of friendship friends. And I mentioned that I like myself now more than I ever have. That my 40s are my favorite decade so far. But hearing you say that, I think owning the business and having a team has contributed so much to that. I mean, a lot of it's therapy, but also
yeah, don't discount that.
But I think you're right. A lot of it is having a team and having a business and having these clients that I'm taking care of, and you're solving problems and untangling knots and having to be patient when you really don't want to be patient, and figuring out, like, am I frustrated because it's me and my ego, or is it something else? I mean, just like, it's just constant figuring things out that really does make you stronger and calmer. Usually
learn to like put the email in drafts before you send it off. Yeah, it really is. I honestly, and the mindset work that I've had to do as a business owner has really contributed so much to like who I am today, right? Therapy for sure too. Yeah. I've done my fair share of all kinds of therapy, and honestly, I feel like half of it was, probably the majority of it was me working through some of these deep-seated, limiting beliefs that I would have to overcome in order to push through to the next level of my business. Going from a one-woman show, going from the designer and the doer and the person who's in the day-to-day to realizing that, if I want to, do I want to do this? Do I want to grow? I had to sit there and reflect, like, do I have it in me? I didn't want to be a business owner. I wanted to stay a creative, to just do the fun, pretty work, I get to make pretty things for a living. I get to make people's, like logos and websites and make marketing. Well, now I'm making marketing work after becoming a story brand guide. But it's just like you have to, and I didn't want to chase invoices. And I considered myself, air quotes, not a business person. I'm a creative. I'm not, you put yourself into this box of, I am a creative. And so therefore all of the structure stuff of the business over here is just not my bag. Like, I'm not doing it. And I don't know why I thought that. My dad's a business owner. I've been around business owners my whole life.
Yeah.
And I just decided, I think it was when I was moonlighting, working full time. And then I realized I'm making more money doing this. I think I can do this.
Okay. Yeah.
And then it unlocks that belief in yourself. And then that belief in yourself is tested over and over and over again. So it's been a journey.
Yes. If you also want to test your belief in yourself and, whether or not you know anything, you should also own a business.
I'm telling you, the best school of hard knocks is entrepreneurship.
You are too right about that. So you started the company 10 years ago, and you had a JOB before that. What were you doing?
I had a JOB.
What were you doing before that?
I did. I actually am one of those weirdos that I'm still doing what I went to college for.
Okay.
Like, my degree is I have a Bachelor of Fine Art and Graphic Design.
Nice.
And I set out, as soon as I graduated college, I worked corporate jobs and was in some very great roles. I had amazing mentors, very lucky that I had good bosses, but it was always the company that I worked for that was screwed up in some way.
Sure.
And I always vowed that if I ever did do it and own a business or have employees, which again, I never really thought I wanted that either. I was going to do it differently. I was going to be the leader that I wanted at the top level of a company. And so I cut the cord with the help of, I should say, the support of my husband back then. He's like, you just got to do it. Just do it. The worst case scenario, you're really good at what you do. Yeah. And you can always just go find another job. I'm like, yeah, that's true. And then the thought of putting my tail between my legs to go find another job was just like, no, thank you. I
Too much pride.
Exactly. At this point, no, thank you. I would make a miserable employee.
Same
for somebody.
No, so do what I want to do.
That's what I did. I started out on my own, and I was doing graphic design for companies on retainer. I had a really cushy. I got really lucky. The job that I quit, they're like, he's like, actually, I'm not going to replace you. I'm just going to hire you as our freelancer. Nice. And I was like, awesome.
Well, that's, as we talked about in that episode with Jen, the value of not burning bridges,
Do not burn bridges. And that's I always tell people who are aspiring designers or they want to, I used to speak at Arizona State University every year to the graduating class of graphic designers in the fine art program. And they'd be like, how do I find clients? And I was like, you get a job. Because you need to learn the skills that you need to learn by working with other people. And then you make connections, and then those people will quit. They'll think of you.
Yeah.
And then you can start moonlighting, and then you can move into your thing.
100%. Yeah, I think, and so you mentioned just now as well, I think it's so important to go work for somebody else before you do your own thing. To learn important skills and learn from other people, and also learn what you don't like you just said, the leader you want to be. I think having that on the job training, both informal and formal, is so helpful for when you do go out and start your own thing. I know there's plenty of people who have never worked for somebody else, and kudos to them. But I mean, from my seat, I think it's really good advice is that, go get a job, go figure it out. I mean, you may love it, or you may be like, no, that's not for me, but at least you did it and got that important information.
I agree. And I think there's some people who just naturally are a little bit more mature and business savvy right out of the box, out of the, And that was not me. I needed that time to really grow and make, and honestly, the connections that I made at those corporate jobs were what launched my business. Those are the connections that I still have today that, we've been very blessed. I think you're the same way. We have a lot of word of mouth, business. I help people with their marketing and branding, and I haven't really had to do it myself because I've been, we're all about cultivating trust with the people that we take really good care of our clients, and then they refer people to us. And so we've been very lucky that way.
Same. Absolutely. Yeah. It's, I promise our strategies work. We just have to use them ourselves.
They do. I know. They do.
So true. Okay. So, how do you kind of, educate yourself or coach yourself or kind of inspire yourself, both creatively, since you are creative, and then also just, running the business? Do you read books? Do you listen to podcasts or books? Do you, is it travel? What is it?
Someday it's going to be travel because I'm tired of sitting in front of the dang computer. But what I will say, because I've talked to you about your rendezvous to Italy and how I want to get there and eat my body weight in pasta. But I am a serial learner. If I could be anything, if somebody was like, what would you want to be if you didn't do what you do now? And it would be, I just want to learn forever. I'm multi-passionate. I love learning about things outside of design and marketing and branding. But normally I am listening to at least one audiobook. I've got probably 2. This is where my ADD gets the worst of me. I've got like a stack of books that I'll start a book and then I get shiny object syndrome and I want to go over to this one. But a lot of the times I'm reading personal development or business books. I'm in the middle of Pricing Creativity by Blair Enns, which is fantastic if you're a creative agency. And then I just finished Outlive by Peter Attia, which was, it's about how to have a healthy, how to increase your health span, not necessarily your lifespan. So kind of going from health and wellness over to business to layering. And then I've usually got an online course layered in there too somewhere. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Do you eventually finish any of these?
I do. I do. I actually forced myself because Peter Attia's book is like a Bible. It's huge. I didn't realize it until I had downloaded the audio and I was like, this is a 16-hour book. And for me, the ultimate shiny object syndrome person, I'm like, how am I going to get through this? I did. I forced myself because I had a stack of audios that I wanted to move on to. And I forced myself. I was like, you absolutely will not until you finish this book. So I've had to bring some discipline into my learning problem. My learning problem. Yeah. But I do. I love podcasts. I'm a big armchair expert. I love all the variety of guests they have over on Dax and Monica's podcast. And then Glennon Doyle, her podcast just fills my soul. So I've got my interests are all over one place.
Yeah. Same. I'm a little honeybee.
Yes, exactly. I like that. I've never heard that before.
Well, it's one of the reasons we have not niched down as an agency because it would kill me to just do one industry. Yeah. So
same.
As long as I'm in charge.
Same. Thank you. Thank you. I feel so validated because as somebody who preaches to people, right, or businesses that it is good to niche. I think it saved us during COVID that we weren't in a niche. I saw people who had restaurant niche in marketing and they were just at a standstill. Whereas we had, and it kind of does reflect some of my own personal interests. We have a lot of health and wellness companies that work with us. And they just went crazy during COVID because they were selling supplements that help keep your immune system good. So it was just all right, this works. But yeah, I don't want to, I would be so bored. And I think my team would be bored too if we just served one industry.
One of our core values is delightfully curious. And, it's just, we all want to learn new things. And, we love to work with subject matter experts in their own industry and gather that information and just live off of their passion. And so, we keep it spread out.
Well, it's kind of like your podcast too. It sounds like you've got a good variety of guests going on here too.
100%. Like, ooh, who do I get to talk to?
I love it. I've learned so much. I'm like, oh man, I need to email that person.
Please do.
So yeah.
Happy to make any intros.
I love it.
So are y'all so you mentioned processes. Is there anything else you're creating right now? Like any courses or classes or products or anything?
Eventually, we do want to create a course. We do a lot of brand strategy with our clients where we take people through the foundation of their business, like company culture, what makes them unique, their monetization strategy, mission, vision, purpose, all of that. And I would love to put that in a course so that if people don't want to do it with, us holding their hand and doing it, they could do it on their own, self-led. So that would be something that would maybe be like a 2025 goal. But yeah, I've been in create mode in terms of like creating the structure inside of the business so that it can function without me in terms of the day-to-day. But we're also creating a template shop of story branded show it website templates.
Nice.
So that is hopefully going to launch next year, probably maybe like Q2.
Okay. That's exciting. I think that really marks a level of maturity in a business when you can take a step to the side and templatize something rather than just churn, new projects, new clients and all that, to be able to continue that momentum while also externalizing your secret sauce. So that's exciting. Good for you.
Yeah. And I think too, one of the desires there was, as we've grown as an agency, we're not able to serve some of the smaller, just the startups, our sweet spot. The people we serve now are the people who have found success and they're a little bit further along. Yeah. They have a larger budget. And those smaller budget projects, I'm like, you deserve a beautiful website. You deserve a beautiful brand, even though you have a smaller budget. And then eventually, once you've found success, come back and we'll do this all custom. Yeah. Right. And so we want to be able to give those people who have, maybe a more limited startup budget, an amazing look and feel without having to break the bank.
Right.
When you're just starting out.
Yeah. I definitely have a passion for those folks as well. And we've thought through a few different packages of like, okay, how can we get you just what you need and nothing more to get you to year 3? And then you can come back.
And that's so hard. It's so hard for me because I just want you to be successful. And so then I'm in a situation where then I give and I give and I give and I give. Yeah. And which is great. Like, I love being generous. And at the end of the day, I've never felt terrible about that at all. But I'm like, I need to figure out a way to I want to be able to give in a way that makes sense for that level too.
Right.
And because, sometimes they're not ready for all of that strategic work. It's just, I'm still trying to figure this out. And next year, this is going to look different than it does this year. And so it would just be too much churn right away for us to we're still exploring who we are. They're in the infancy stage.
Yeah.
They're teenagers, trying out different trends.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I tell startups all the time, you are going to change. You're supposed to change.
You are supposed, thank you. Yes, you're supposed to change. This is supposed to grow. This is supposed to evolve. If it does not, you are doing it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So save your shekels and come back later.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what we're hoping to launch next year after we've kind of got some of these systems down.
Love it. I can't wait to. Well, you'll have to send me the link and I'll drop it in the show notes.
We're going to have affiliates. So if anyone wants to be an affiliate, they can jump on board and sell website templates.
Love me an affiliate program.
So, yes.
Okay, so going to switch gears and go to our vulnerability corner. So you've been in business for a long time now. 10 years is huge. Congratulations, by the way, first of all.
Thank you.
A decade. When is the actual birthday of the biz?
It was August of 2014. Okay. So next year will be 10 years.
Okay, awesome. Are you going to do something big?
We're rebranding.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Which feels like it's taking forever. It's so funny. We had to hire somebody to help rebrand us in terms of strategic foundation because I'm way too close to this. So we're launching a new website and all that stuff next year. So
my gosh,
it's right on par with a 10-year bloom.
That's exciting. We're taking a little jaunt here, but yes, I think that's great that you hired somebody else. I had to do that about 2 years ago, just because it's so hard to read the label from inside the bottles. Like someone killed these darlings. I can't do it myself.
And I'm like, hey, I know that what you're helping me with is what I do, but this is really like, I don't know why this is so hard. And then I get to sit in the seat that my clients sit in. And I'm like, bless you. This is tough work. This is like the stuff that makes your brain hurt sometimes. But it's all worth it. It's all worth it.
Yes. And it's nice to be a client sometimes.
It is.
Inspire
I
you
agree.
on your journey. So, okay.
Agree.
So back to my original question. In your decade of business ownership, what's like the worst thing that's happened to you in business where it felt like, this is gonna kill me. I'm never gonna come back from this. But ultimately, it turned around and it became the best thing to ever happen to you.
Yeah. So before, when it was just me, and I was kind of doing more retainer work where I had this steady income that was very reliable with maybe 3 or 4 clients, and that sustained me. And one of those clients I had since the very beginning, so I was very young and young in the business in terms of kind of naive and didn't really know how to stand up for myself or set proper boundaries right out of the gate, right? I think a lot of us have been there.
Got that t-shirt.
And this client, this client was just super abusive and toxic. And before I knew that you can't really treat people like they're employees when they're contractors, I would get texts at like 10 o'clock at night and not be able to take vacation. It was just crazy. So I decided and I'm 6, so I'm very loyal. Like I will follow you to the ends of the earth forever. So I decided after 4.5 years, it was enough. And I had other things going on. I felt like I had the ability to just say, hey, I'll replace you quickly. And so I did that. I cut them loose, fired them, whatever, and didn't really feel like a firing. I was just like, hey, I'm done now. And then shortly thereafter, 2 of my other clients dropped off. And I was in a panic. I was fully spiraling. I was in a very dark place because at that time too, that was the first time in, halfway through my business of owning a business that I'd really had to square with famine, that feast. I was feast. I was doing so great. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh. And as somebody who loves, if security and certainty were like a blanket, I would never take it off. So being in this vulnerable state of feeling like, oh my God, I'm not meant for this. I shouldn't be doing this. I don't know what I'm doing. And I still think that sometimes. I'm like, what am I doing? Should I even be doing this? So, I went into a pretty dark place and I was really struggling to pull myself out of it. I think my husband was really concerned. And I finally got the gumption to fire podcasts because I couldn't even like do any I couldn't personal develop myself out of that funk. I pulled up Amy Porterfield's podcast to get my head back in the game. And it was the episode with Donald Miller.
Oh, yeah.
So I can see where I'm going here. So it was the episode with Donald Miller. And that was how I found out about StoryBrand. I had never heard about StoryBrand until Amy, there was some sort of magical intervention that came down on me that day. And I heard Don and I was like, oh, I'm going to listen to his podcast. So then I was like, okay. And become a guide. I'm like, what is this? I'm going to become a guide. And then they're like, guess what? It's $10,000 to become a guide. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in famine right now. How am I going to do this? So my husband did an amazing thing. He broke into my email.
Oh my gosh.
He found Jake from StoryBrand. And he took money out of his 401k because we were at a place where we just didn't have like a crap load of money. We had money in savings, but we want to rob, He's like, so for our anniversary in March, he made a video that was like talking about like investing in each other and all the things. I'll give you the video if you want to see it. But he surprised me with StoryBrand certification and he got JJ and Don to do a video
Oh my God.
welcome me in. Yeah. Like, hey, Jena, we're going to see you in July. And I was like, oh, that's how I found out that I was going to become a StoryBrand guide. And honestly, listening to Amy's podcast, kind of bringing myself out of that, where I felt like I was at the lowest point in my business at that point, and deciding that StoryBrand could be maybe the way that I could get myself out of this. I had no idea what it would do to my business. And it's that StoryBrand is what catapulted my business into another level. Like, I was now able to offer the strategic piece in the marketing side, not just branding, that I couldn't do before. And that's when I was like, I guess it's grow or bust now. Like, what are we going to do? So here I am. Like, yeah, that was really truly a mark in the sand, like a line of delineation where I had to like move over it, and it changed everything.
That is
everything.
Such a beautiful story. Like, I'm holding back tears.
Oh, I was crying.
Yeah.
I was a mess when he played that video for me, and I was like, oh my gosh,
what a honey.
So,
oh my goodness. And just having believe in you like that, and just be like, I see it. You can't see anything right now, but I can see this for you, and I'm going to pull this money out of,
and that's what he said.
Pay this penalty to take this money.
Exactly. And I was like, okay, I can't be mad at you for this, because I'm very much the financially like super savvy, like hoard money and savings, save for a rainy day person. And he's like, YOLO. Sometimes, not a lot. It's gotten better. But he's like, you know what? Like, this isn't something, I'm not taking money out of this investment to just go blow it. We're investing it into a better future for ourselves. And he's like, I know you're going to take this investment and you're going to turn it around. And I think after becoming a guide, I made that investment back within the first 90 days.
That's amazing. Good for you.
And it just turned everything around for us.
Like, I got this.
And we were, And I honestly didn't know. And sometimes it takes that. Sometimes it takes somebody else to see, your spark when you feel like you've lost it, to be like, you know what? No, you're not going to let this be you're not going to let this be rock bottom. Let it be rock bottom, but you're going to go, you're going to go up.
Use it to
here.
Push up and
yes, I'm doing this with my hands. Like people can see me. And it really did. It was, and also like just the things that my life has been blessed with since becoming a StoryBrand guide, like meeting like people like you, and some of my best, closest friends are in this community.
Yeah.
So, and I never feel like I'm going it alone.
Right.
If there's something I don't know, I can just be like, somebody does.
Exactly.
I know somebody does.
Exactly. It's like I have a team of 800 people.
Yes, it does feel like that. It's great.
Yeah.
It really is.
It makes me wonder how many broken people have washed up on the shores of StoryBrand over the years. Because I was certainly one of them as well. Just like, I did it on my own and was very much like, no, you don't understand. I'm coming. They're like, well, it's $10,000. I'm like, yes, I know. Here's my credit card. They're like, well, we have to approve you. I'm like, no, I'm coming. I'll see you there.
No, I'm telling you.
Like, that's not how that works. I'm like, it is how it works. I will be there in April in Nashville.
Allow me to tell you.
Yes. They're just like, okay. But yeah, I mean, I was very much kind of beat up by life and work and things like that. And was just like, I need some school. And I didn't know what it was going to do for me other than I needed a formal environment for education and community and all that. And actually the community, I was like, well, I don't want a bunch of competitors. And I'm like, oh my God, the best part.
Right.
I was like, I need to go sit in a classroom for a couple of days. Like, that's what I really need. And just walked away with the framework and so much confidence and like, oh, well, this is how much you have to charge now. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, that was shocking.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I wouldn't have signed up if I had known that.
Another reason it has transformed my business is the pricing minimums. And honestly, the way that they teach you to think about how you should invest in your business, right? Like, that was a $10,000 risk we both took, not knowing if it would really make a return, and it really does. And that's what we do, branding and marketing, is a risk. It can be considered a risk or like a cost, but I see it as an investment.
Right.
Like, would you spend $10,000, $20,000 to make $100,000? Like, who would say no to that? And so it changed the way I thought about investing in your business too.
100%. I love it. I love it. So I did not know you as little baby Jena, but when you were younger, was there something about you that people are like, oh, that you're too whatever, or you really need to work on that, like making you feel like something was a weakness, but as an adult and business owner, you see it as a superpower?
Yeah, I think I've always been a very sensitive person. Like sensitivity has wear my heart on my sleeve. I've been told over and over again that I get too emotionally invested, especially in business. Like, oh, it's just business. Like, it's never just business for me, ever. Okay. Like, I genuinely care about your success, and I genuinely care about my clients more, than probably most. But I think that the sensitivity is a gift, and the empathy, empathy and sensitivity kind of go hand in hand, that I'm really allowed when I'm doing a strategic, brand strategy, and we're talking about like an ideal customer of our client. I can actually step into, okay, if I'm your customer, these are the things I'm probably feeling, and so I think it really helps me not only to be empathetic and in tune to our clients and customers, but it also helps me to just be a better listener, really kind of pick up on some subtle nuance that if you're not really listening or feeling for things that might be underneath the surface, that it's, that's one of the things. And then I think the other one is stubbornness.
We are cut from the same cloth, my friends.
Because I remember when I told you that I got this new puppy and it's a dachshund and he's really stubborn. I'm like, oh God, this dog is me. Stubbornness. I like to call it tenacity though, because I feel like that's the more productive version of stubbornness, right? Yep. That's the whole reason. Like I named the business Blush Cactus because we're in Phoenix, we're in the desert Southwest. And so when you're looking around, everything is brown and basic, and cacti symbolize endurance and persistence. They are plants that by all accounts of their environment should not survive what they do. They're tenacious little plants. And I feel like entrepreneurship, business ownership, that's like the metaphor for having a business is, you're trying to survive, you're trying to grow, and you're trying to stand out. Yeah. We have these beautiful pink prickly pear here, and it was inspirational. I'm like, I need people you see that cactus or you see those blooms and you're like, that's it right there. Everything's brown. That's pink. It's beautiful. So that was and it kind of played into like the fact that I'm just not going to give up. I'm stubborn.
I love that.
There's a book. What's the book? The Obstacle is the Way. I believe. Is it Ryan Holiday?
Oh, the Stoicism book?
Yes. The Obstacle is the Way. That to me is like, okay, the obstacle is the way. If there's something standing in my way, I'm going to figure it out. I'm kind of like the story brand thing. After I gave myself time to be sad and lick my wounds. And then it was like, time, let's go.
Yeah, I'm doing this.
We are doing this.
There's only one path, and it's forward.
Because I think about it. I'm like, okay, remember, Jena, you would make a really crappy employee.
Yes. As would I, yes.
Oh yeah, those are my two things.
I love that.
Sensitivity and stubbornness.
My parents tell a story about when I was really young, like maybe 1 or 2. My mom walked past the living room, and I was sitting in front of the TV watching cartoons, and tears were just streaming down my face. And she's like, oh my God, my baby's broken. And, comes to find out that I'm very sensitive. I'm an empath. Like, someone probably got hurt on the cartoon, and it made me very sad. And so, yeah, same.
Yes. I remember watching Bambi and I was bawling. I was like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I don't want you to die like Bambi's mom died. Like, I just remember falling apart over the easiest things when I was a kid. But you know what? I wouldn't want to be any other way.
No.
It's you get hurt more often. I think you have to fight the urge to be guarded. But it to me is the way to go. I like it. I have come to accept that part of me as a superpower.
100. Me too. No, I'm like, I have to protect myself for sure. Like kind of
for sure
build a force field around myself.
That's the boundaries thing.
And boundaries. Yeah. Like, no, thank you. And then, but yeah, like literally imagining like and grounding myself and like putting like a ball of light around myself sometimes,
yes,
you know,
the force field.
Yes.
I do that.
So yeah, I'll be around friends and I'm like, I'm sorry, are you stressed out right now?
Why is there vibes?
Like, is that me? No, it's not me. So I'm like brushing it off of myself.
Somebody's got vibes. Yeah. I'm picking up your vibes.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So wrapping things up, 2 more questions. One, what's one piece of advice that you can give our listeners to make their lives or businesses or both stronger and better today?
So I had a friend tell me this quote recently, and it was, make the decision and then stop making the decision.
Oh, I love that.
So I'm telling y'all this because this is something that I need to hear on the regular. Like, don't second guess yourself. Don't get stuck in paralysis. It's okay if you make the wrong decision because then you can just pivot, right? And one of the things we have to help our clients with a lot is don't go crowdsourcing opinions from a bunch of people that are going to cloud your judgment and your gut feeling, right? Just make the decision. And then stop making the decision. Let's move forward.
I need to put that on a pillow.
On a Post-it note on your monitor, at least.
That's so good. I love it. All right, everybody, listen to that. So good. Okay. Where can people find you to do business with you, look at your beautiful work, connect, all that good stuff?
Yeah. So hopefully in Q2, we'll have a brand shiny new website for you to look at. But you can find us over on blushcactus.com, spelled just like it sounds, blushandcactus.com. I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram. Our business is there too. And I think you'll probably put links to those. It's just blush.cactus on Instagram. And I'm Jena Gribble on LinkedIn. But I will tell you, I really stink at the socials. So
we won't judge you. We won't judge you.
We're working on it. It's that whole like shoemakers, children have new shoes thing happening. I just am like, okay, well, do you want me on social media or do you want me to like kick ass over here with my clients? Because I can't do both right now until we can, till those systems are in place.
The only reason we have great content is because I have a great team.
Truly. And that's where we're going eventually here. We have a whole content strategy planned out for 2024. But yeah, blushcactus.com is where you can find us.
Okay. Well, I will definitely put all that in the show notes. And thank you so much, Jena, for coming on. I knew it'd be amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Blew even that out of the water.
Well, thank you. It was an honor to be here.
Thanks for listening to The Impatient Entrepreneur. Love the podcast? Be sure to share it with a friend or colleague or give us a 5-star review on Apple. You can also chat with us on Instagram or Facebook at The Impatient Entrepreneur Pod. Want to star on a future episode? Head over to theimpatientrepreneur.com to inquire. Thank you to the team at Quidar & Co. for believing in me and bringing this podcast to life. And thank you to Carson Childers for mixing and editing this episode. Can't wait to see you next time.